Hello and welcome to the Happy Little Futures podcast. As always, let's begin with a nice deep breath in and out. Fantastic. So, Happy New Year, first and foremost. I'm hoping that everyone listening has had a good Christmas and managed to find a bit of time to just sort of unwind and take stock over the Christmas period. And now that we've got into the new year, it's quite normal for people to be talking about what they're going to do this year, questioning goals, suggesting resolutions, setting themselves challenges. And I always think that this is both fantastic and, for me personally, unrealistic. If I'm going to sit there and set a New Year's resolution, more likely than not, I will have broken it by the first day, because the pressure to do it is just too much. And at the end of the day, by setting it, I kind of feel that the only person I'm failing is me. But for many people that works. However, for those of you that it doesn't work for, I thought I'd give you a few ideas of things that you could do just to help yourself, if you would like, to find a bit of focus, to give yourself a bit of a general aim, or sort of a bit of a challenge, I suppose, without putting the pressure on you. So, first of all, one of my key things for New Year's and looking at the year ahead is to sort of create a bit of an aim to be a little bit healthier, or a bit more mindful, or to feel that I've increased my self-care. But in all situations, it's not something that, like, I know when I used to work for a company, we used to have to set SMART targets and stuff like that, and it was like, here is the goal and here is the end thing, and this is how I'm going to measure it. For me personally, you don't know what's coming up over the next year. And in some cases, it could be fantastic. In other cases, it could be very difficult, very challenging. And so I personally feel that heading for a general feeling of, yes, you know what? I feel a little bit healthier. I feel that I am a bit more mindful of where I'm at and what I'm doing. I feel that I am increasing my self-care. I've increased my self-care, and certain parts of self-care have sort of become part of my weekly routine. That sort of feeling, I think, is quite important. So that's my number one, is rather than give yourself a target, give yourself an aim, so that then you can, an aim for a feeling, so that then it doesn't have to be something that you're failing on. It can just be a general, this is how I want to feel. And in some cases, I mean, I looked back at the start of my journal from last year, which I wanted to journal more in general. I didn't do a lot, but I did more than the nothing that I did the year before. I looked back at my journal on New Year's Day, when I was sort of doing I like to do a reflection of where I'm at in general, and sort of like then list sort of the areas of my life that I want to work on or improve. And I looked back at the start of 2024 and realised that my aim for 2024 had been to be healthier, which was the aim that I'd just written down for 2025. And I looked at it and I laughed, because I thought it was to be more mindful, which was actually the year before. And the nice thing about having these aims rather than particular resolutions is that, for me personally, and it is very personal in all these situations, for me personally, it sort of becomes a general part of life that actually, over last year, I became even more increasingly mindful of where I'm at, of what what I'm feeling and how I can then support myself through that. And I think that was because I sort of increased it slowly and in general over the year before. So last year's aim was to be healthier. And in many ways, I wasn't. However, in many ways, I became more aware of what feeling healthier is to me, of how I feel when I am eating less healthy or not doing as much exercise and things like that. So it was, whilst it wasn't the make sure every single day you are eating 5 a day thing that I think I had in mind at the start of the year, and I certainly had in mind at the start of this year. It's the fact that I became more mindful of what being healthy means to me and how it feels to me and what I can do in little moments throughout my day to just sort of like getting a bit more nutrients that I want, to take stock and go for a walk and exercise my body a bit more. I think that was an important starting place. And all it means really for me is that, yes, I want to continue that journey this year of becoming more healthy, and that I set good foundations for during the year last year. And I think this is sort of the key of what I'm trying to say is, if you create yourself sort of a general aim or a feeling that you want to have increased by the end of the year, even if it's that you're not having your 5 a day every single day, which, spoilers, I still am not. I know that I should. But the kids are, and that's important. And I was more aware of that, and increasing theirs has increased mine naturally because we all eat together. But it sort of allows you to then reflect and be like, actually, no, even though it's not perfect, I didn't aim for perfect. I didn't have a specific goal in mind. And so for me, having increased this has given me good foundations. So that's my number one goal. My number one recommendation. And before I go on to number 2, I just want to thank our sponsor, Rowan Fox Clothing, who are a sustainable clothing brand with nature at its heart, all things wonderful wildlife for you and your kids. And if you head to rowanfox.com, you can see their full collection. So, my second recommendation, and it's something that I recommend in general, to do with meditation, to do with mindfulness, to do with habit stacking and all of that sort of stuff, is start small. And each tiny little thing that you do actually is pushing you forwards to a place you want to be. Celebrate the little wins. So, for example, like I said, last year I aimed to be healthier, and a natural thing to look at is the 5 a day. I don't do that every single day. However, I am aware of that, and that increased awareness, that increased mindfulness, when it comes to what I'm eating and whether I've had 5 a day, and actually what I enjoy eating. As a kid, I would have happily eaten fruit all day. As an adult, actually, I'm not a massive fruit fan. I'm going to admit it. I would rather have a carrot. So, and I've recently discovered certain kale salad that I like, and I don't like kale until recently. So things like that make a difference. But like I said, celebrating those small wins and becoming more aware. Sorry if you heard the dog snore in the background then. Becoming more aware of where you're making those adjustments, of where you're adjusting that mindset. I think that is really important. So we talk about it with meditation. I talk about it with meditation, for example. Quite often people struggle to set aside 10 minutes every single day. And you can sit there and go, I'm going to meditate every day and I have to do that for 10 minutes because that's what I'm going to do. That would be a New Year's resolution in my mind, would be I'm going to meditate for 10 minutes every single day. Even I struggle to do that. However, if you can break that down and go, I'm going to do a micro meditation when I remember, or I am going to meditate for 2 minutes every day after I've brushed my teeth, or I'm going to try and habit stack this, or even when I remember that I haven't meditated, I'm going to take a deep breath, focus on that breath, and release on the out breath that feeling of failure or frustration that I might feel inside. And in that moment, I have meditated. That one breath, that single breath with that intention of breathing in and letting go of that upset, that whatever, that is me meditating. And I'm going to allow that to be my meditation. And the more you do that, the more you celebrate those little wins, the more it becomes a more positive experience, the more you will find yourself actually doing it on the go, even if you're not doing it and setting aside the time. And yes, when we talk about, like, it obviously depends on what your resolution or your goal or your aim is. It's like when we talk about self-care, we want to be able to set aside that time, but actually giving ourselves permission can be extremely difficult, especially if you've got children or older people that you care for, or even sort of a friend or a spouse that you look after. Allowing yourself and giving yourself permission to do that thing for yourself can be very, very difficult. So finding ways that you can break it down into a smaller bite-sized chunk that you can easily do even on the go, I think is really important. For me, for example, with the being more healthy aim for the year, I'm going to try and sort of like consciously plan my meals according to the amount of veg and stuff that's in them. So we don't eat a lot of beige anyway, or at least I didn't think that we did until I was aware of what we were putting into us. And when I do say beige, I mean, like, for us, the kids wouldn't even eat chicken nuggets last year. It was just pizza that they would have. That was the oven meals that they would have. We've managed to increase that over the year, which is quite nice. But it's it does mean that it's a little bit more easy to reach for the freezer. But for me, sort of consciously going, well, even if we are having pizza, I'm going to have a bit of salad with it. I'm going to have a carrot with it. Like, thinking a bit more mindfully in the moment as I'm considering meals about what fruit and vegetables might be included in that meal, either in pudding or in the meal itself. For me, that is a little win. That is a plan to be a little bit more healthy. That is a plan to add a little bit more into my day that slowly builds up. And actually, then over the year, it's become that meals have naturally come through, and I've naturally gone, oh, well, I'll do this meal today, because it's become part of the normal week-to-week repertoire of food that we have. So starting small and bite-size and maybe things that you can do on the go, I think is really important. Like, another thing for me that I want to do as part of being more healthy is exercise a little bit more. And I know, because we all know, because we've all heard it 1,000 times, that you need to get your body pumping and your heart rate up sort of like a few times a day or for a certain amount of minutes a day or whatever. I'm not 100% sure anymore what the actual amount of minutes and stuff is. But for me, when the kids are running away and I'm chasing them, rather than going, oh, slow down, I'm consciously going, this is okay. It's getting my heart beating. That's a good thing. That's what I need to do, sort of thing. And going, actually, okay, let's roll with this. And things like that make a big difference, because it's not only a sense of, it doesn't only reduce the frustration of, oh, my kids are running off in that situation. And they don't always run off. But obviously I've got 3 kids of very different ages, and listening abilities who are very excitable when they get out of school, and they like to run and they like to work off that energy that they've held on to throughout the day. And it can get frustrating when I'm going, but joining in and making it right, okay, we'll all do it together. It makes it a bit more fun for them, and it makes it more of an achievement for me if I am raising my heart rate in the process. So that's my two big recommendations. If you're looking to try and start a New Year's resolution, and it's never too late to start. The start of the year is a good point because we have a calendar, we have a diary that starts from the 1st of January to the 31st of December. So you can go, right, this is my time frame. However, realistically, you could go, actually, for the next 3 weeks, I want to increase this feeling. For the next 4 weeks, I want to start, like, by the end of this 4 weeks, I want meditation to have become a habit for me. And we all know that doing something regularly for 28 days builds it in as a habit. And so that can really, really help. However, sometimes if you're like me, building in that habit can be very, very difficult, and having the structure within your day, having the mental clarity, having the, the discipline to do it can be very difficult. And that's not always achievable. So starting small, in taking that deep breath, in raising your heart rate regularly rather than every single day for that week, for that 28 days, for whatever, that can make such a difference. So make it an aim, not something that you have to do. Celebrate the little wins and do it in bite-sized chunks. That's my big 3, I suppose, even though I split it into 2 throughout the podcast, of what you can do this year to mindfully go through and complete something, or not even complete something, increase a feeling, increase a way that you want to further yourself, or something that you want to work on this year. And yeah, be kind to yourself. And take plenty of deep breaths and let it go, whether you're focusing on increasing meditation or mindfulness or not. Take that moment when you go, oh, I haven't done it, I should have done it. And take a deep breath. Let go of that feeling and just do something, as small as it might be, intentionally in that moment to help you. So with that, I'm going to love you and leave you. And we're going to take a nice deep breath in and release. Fantastic. And I will speak to you soon.